In the vast landscape of Asian music, there is one voice that did not merely rise above the rest. It soared. A voice that carried the hopes of a young girl from humble beginnings. A voice that echoed across nations. And a voice that would one day be called the greatest of her generation. This is the story of a woman whose talent was unmistakable from the moment she first stepped on a stage. A woman who turned dreams into milestones, obstacles into triumphs, then music into something unforgettable. She is known as Asia's Songbird. But to millions, she is far more than a title. She is an icon, the pioneer, the living legacy. This is the extraordinary journey of Regine Velasquez. A journey of passion, perseverance, and the power of a single voice to change everything. Join us as we dive deep into her early beginnings, her struggles, her rise to fame, and the legacy she continues to build. A legacy written not just in albums and awards, but in the hearts of those she has inspired for more than 3 decades. Welcome to the story of Regine Velasquez. Regina Encarnacion Ansong Velasquez was born on April 22, 1970, and the image of a small Philippine barrio, sunlight on corrugated roofs, a neighbor's radio drifting out toward the street, is the fitting backdrop for a life that would later be measured in stadium lights and international stages. She was born in Tanda, Manila, into a home where music was not a luxury but a living language. Her mother played piano and guitar, her father sang lullabies and local ballads, and the household hum of song was an ordinary constant that became, for the child Regine, a fast teacher. From the earliest years she was drawn to melody. Family memories recall a daughter who listened, learned, and tried to make the world sing back to her. Her childhood included moves between Manila and the provinces. The family's ties to Leyte and other provinces meant that Regine learned to sing before she learned, in any formal sense, how to be a celebrity. Those first small stages, school talent shows, neighborhood celebrations, were both proving grounds and apprenticeship. One detail that took hold in stories about her early training was the unconventional regimen instilled by her father, early vocal exercises done in open air and, as the tale is often told, even in the sea, measures that some accounts credit with building the lung capacity and core strength that later would be the engine of her extraordinary voice. Whether mythic or literal, such anecdotes underline a theme that would recur throughout her life, a mixture of humble origins, familial discipline, and an almost folkloric initiation into the craft of singing. Regine is one of several children born to Teresita Ine Ansong and Gerardo Velasquez. She grew up alongside siblings whose everyday presence created the normalcy that helps anchor performers when fame arrives. The siblings, Kakai, Diane, Deka and Jojo, were part of the domestic chorus, and family ties remained important as her public life grew. The family's movements, between congested, vibrant Tanda and provincial towns, gave Regine both urban grit and provincial warmth. This dual geography would later appear in her music and public persona, a singer who could inhabit both metropolitan pop and tender Filipino ballad traditions with equal authenticity. Though she eventually moved into the celebrity orbit, new managers, record contracts, television lights, Regine's family background remained a persistent touchstone in interviews and documentaries. The narrative of the songbird who grew from grassroots surroundings became a central part of how the public and press described her, not merely a voice, but a voice that carried the imprint of family and place. Regine's schooling ran alongside her emerging singing career. As is common with early success performers, formal education and public performance often ran in parallel rather than in sequence. The specifics of her academic institutions have been included in various public profiles, but the pattern is clear. By the time she was a teenager, she was already navigating both classrooms and karaoke stages, balancing academic work with the vocal rehearsals and competitions that would define her late teens and early 20s. The discipline required by that balance, exams in the morning, rehearsals and concerts on weekends, prepared her for a life in which craft and commerce would continually require both refinement and stamina. Regine's first decisive public victory came early. Performing under the name Chona at age 14, she entered and won the popular Philippine television talent show Ang Bagong Kampiyon in December 1984, an event that served as many Filipino artists springboard into professional life. Winning that contest gave the young singer national visibility and opened the door to managerial interest and recording opportunities. Accounts of that time are vivid: a teenage girl, a small hometown reputation, and suddenly the attention of producers who recognized both a marketable instrument and an artist with staying power. In 1986, she briefly used the stage name Chona and released I Love Me Again with Octoarts. The single did not set charts alight, but it cemented the idea that recording was the next logical step. In 1987, advised and managed by Rani Hineris and brought into Viva Records' orbit under Vic Del Rosario, she rebranded formally as Regine Velasquez and launched her debut studio album Regine, 1987. The combination of television exposure, live performance experience, and the backing of an established label began the slow accrual of professional credibility. A crucial early milestone came in 1989. Regine represented the Philippines at the Asia-Pacific Singing Contest in Hong Kong and won, an achievement that signaled she could be successful beyond the national market and hinted at the international career that would later blossom. The victory in Hong Kong positioned her as an artist with regional appeal and put her on the radar of producers and promoters across East and Southeast Asia. The rise of Regine Velasquez was not a single canyon jump to superstardom but a series of carefully scaled ledges, albums, concerts, television appearances, and collaborations that together formed a vertical ascent. Her second album, 1990, and the concerts that accompanied it, culminating in major national stage appearances, established her as a bankable concert artist in the Philippines. Notably, in 1991 she gave a celebrated concert at Carnegie Hall in New York City, making her one of the early Filipino solo artists to perform at that venerated venue, an event often cited as a symbolic crossing into the world stage. That performance attracted attention not just for the symbolic weight of Carnegie Hall but because it showcased a Filipino voice on one of the world's premier classical pop crossover stages. As the 1990s advanced, Regine broadened both her sound and her reach. The mid-1990s included an international record deal and albums designed to appeal across Asia. Listen Without Prejudice, 1994, became one of the artist's most important releases in terms of regional impact, recorded with international collaborators and distributed across Southeast and East Asian markets. It included a duet with Hong Kong star Jackie Chan and sold strongly abroad, with sales figures that reflected a transnational appetite for her voice. This success reinforced her billing as Asia's Songbird, a nickname that, while at times flattened the complexity of her musicianship, captured the popular imagination and became part of her public identity. The late 1990s and early 2000s found Regine expanding her artistry, experimenting with cover albums, performing musical theater, and moving into acting and television hosting. She became a fixture not only as a recording artist but also as a judge, presenter, and television lead, roles which broadened her cultural presence and introduced her to audiences who were not only record buyers but television viewers. The movement from music into multimedia was deliberate. Singers in the Philippines often undertake cross-platform work, and Regine's adaptability ensured she remained a central figure in the entertainment industry for decades. Regine's career is distinguished by several measurable achievements, record sales, awards, and landmark performances. She is frequently cited as the best-selling Filipino recording artist domestically, with over 7 million records sold in the Philippines and additional sales across Asia, numbers that underline her commercial reach. Her awards tally is substantial. She has won multiple AWIT Awards, Alive Awards, Box Office Entertainment Awards, and Star Awards for Music, among others. Regionally, she captured the Asia-Pacific contest early in her career and later won MTV Asia Honors and other international recognitions that reflect both critical appreciation and popular success. Some milestones deserve special emphasis. The Carnegie Hall performance, 1991, signaled artistic validation on an international stage. The regional distribution of Listen Without Prejudice, 1994, and subsequent Asia-wide releases and tours helped turn a national star into a regional figure. Her concert career, headlining the country's largest arenas and staging benefit concerts for national causes, solidified her status as both entertainer and cultural figure. These are not merely trophies, they represent a trajectory from local talent show winner to a headliner who could draw crowds and attention across the Philippines and beyond. The arc of Regine's personal life, as she matured into the public role of a national star, has often been told with the same reverence accompanying her music. Public interest increased when, after years of friendship and collaboration with fellow musician Ogie Alcacid, their relationship became romantic and public in the late 2000s. The couple announced their engagement on August 8, 2010, and married on December 22, 2010, in Nasugbu, Batangas, a widely covered event that combined privacy with pageantry. The marriage linked two of the Philippines' most recognized musical talents and became part of mainstream entertainment narratives. Their son, Nathaniel James, often called Nate, was born on November 8, 2011. Regine's family life, marriage, and motherhood became a new stabilizing element in the later chapters of her public persona. Regine's spiritual life has also been part of her personal story. In 2013, she publicly described becoming a born-again Christian, an evolution she has linked in interviews to personal trials and reflection. She has spoken candidly in later years about hardships, including a miscarriage revealed in 2016, which she has framed as experiences that deepened her faith and changed how she approaches family and career. These revelations humanized the superstar in new ways and became part of how the public understands her resilience. No long career is without conflict, and Regine's has included both the ordinary tensions of celebrity and occasional public controversies. In an industry where media narratives are frequently magnified, she has experienced the kinds of tabloid speculation and gossip that attend personal relationships, public remarks, and social media commentary. At times she has been critical of what she perceived as unfair reporting. At others, she has been on the receiving end of debates about artistic choices, television appearances, or professional alliances. Her career also faced the professional challenge all high-profile artists meet, revolving public taste. As music trends shifted and new artists arrived, Regine navigated choices about repertoire, branding, and the move toward television or film that tested her adaptability. The public record shows a performer who managed these tensions largely through reinvention, cover albums, new partnerships, and strategic media appearances that kept her relevant without betraying her musical identity. For specific controversies, press coverage and fan commentary document a handful of heated moments, but they have not overshadowed the broad arc of achievement in her career. Throughout her career, Regine has used her prominence to support social causes. She has been involved in projects for children's welfare and disaster relief, including benefit concerts and televised fundraising specials. Notably, she participated in Speak Your Mind, a documentary project addressing the plight of homeless children in theaters that was associated with UNICEF's child rights efforts, an example of how she lent her voice and platform to issues of social justice and child welfare. She has also worked with organizations like Banty Bata and Operation Smile in benefit events and advocacy. These philanthropic engagements reflect a pattern common among high-profile Filipino entertainers, taking the energies of public visibility and channeling them toward relief and awareness campaigns. Regine's trophy case is extensive and varied: the WIT Awards, the Philippines Music Awards, Alive Awards, recognizing live performance, MTV Asia recognitions, Box Office Entertainment Awards, Star Awards for Music, and multiple Lifetime Achievement honors across organizations that track Philippine music and film. Her commercial success, multi-platinum albums and consistent concert draws, has been recognized by industry bodies. Her artistic success, vocal technique, emotive interpretations, has been recognized by peers and critics. Together these awards chronicle a career built on sustained excellence rather than a single breakout moment. In addition to competitive awards, she has received Lifetime and Magna awards that frame her legacy in cultural terms, as a defining voice in contemporary Filipino music. Throughout the 2000s and into the 2010s and 2020s, Regine continued to perform, record, and appear on television. She released albums that revisited classic songs and explored mature themes. She headlined arena concerts and intimate shows. She hosted talent competitions and served as a judge on reality programs, engagements that allowed her to participate in the industry both as a creator and as a mentor figure to younger performers. She has shown an ability to modulate her public exposure, at times highly visible, at times more private, while continuing to record and take on selective projects that align with her artistic priorities. Her move among record labels, television networks, and production teams in later decades demonstrates a continued appetite for reinvention paired with steady stewardship of an enormous back catalogue. If we try to crystallize Regine Velasquez's legacy, we must place together several threads: vocal technique and musicianship, the narrative of a working-class girl rising to national and regional fame, the model of longevity in an industry prone to ephemeral trends, and the cultural image of a Filipino artist who could move between local genres and international pop idioms. She has been called Asia's Songbird, a more than an honorific. The nickname signals how a generation came to recognize her as both a national treasure and a transnational performer. Musically, she inspired a cohort of singers who cite her as a formative influence. Culturally, she represents how Filipino popular music became more visible and commercially significant across Asia during the 1990s and 2000s. Her legacy is also pedagogical. Through television mentoring roles and public interviews, she has passed on an approach to singing, the attention to breath, phrasing, and emotional honesty that younger artists have absorbed. Her philanthropic work and public candor about personal struggles complicate the image of celebrity and tie artistic success to social responsibility. In sum, she is not merely a successful singer but a figure whose career intersects with national pride, evolving Asian music markets, and generations of performers who followed in her wake.